You are listening to the Disney Dream Girls, an unofficial Disney Theme Parks podcast, and this is show number 549 for Sunday, the 18th of May, 2025.
Where dreams begin.
Hello and welcome to this week's Disney Dream Girls. My name is Michelle Young, and together with my jolly good chum Jane Phipps, we are your guides to the place where dreams begin. Well, this week is a super special show because I have a super special guest. Hello and welcome to the Disney Dream Girls, Anthony Markham.
Hi Michelle, great to be back.
Always, shame we are not sharing the same space.
Indeed.
Now I know you have an upcoming trip for the July the 4th.
Yes, just a few short weeks away. Been making some ADRs.
So what did you manage to pin out?
Well, I did get Geo 82. I was one of the lucky few. I've got a brunch reservation over at Homecoming, which I've actually not been to as well. Then actually on the morning of my birthday, we are doing a brunch over at Trattoria Al Forno, since we'll be at Epcot for part of that day.
Sounds great. Did you book the fireworks at Geo 82 or was it just the bar?
Since I have not won the lottery, just the bar.
I thought so, but it was interesting to see that experience had been booked up within seconds as well.
Well, I mean, there's a certain culture around people who want to be Disney influencers, and whatever comes out, it's going to sell out. It'll be interesting to see what it's like in 6 months when reviews actually get posted about it. So
we shall wait with bated breath for the first few nights and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Now, unless you've been living under a rock the last 48 hours, you will realise that at the moment, Disneyland has just launched its 70th celebrations, with most of the offerings now being available at Disneyland. And I'm sure we all saw this on the 16th. We saw the return of Paint the Night, we saw Wondrous Journeys, and we saw the giganormous plastic key that you can buy to unlock all sorts of goodies.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that key thing?
For me personally, I think it's a cool souvenir. I think that it depends on how long you're going to have to wait at each station to unlock the key, because some of the attraction lines were quite small at the weekend and the lines for the keys were quite long. I think the price point of $60, to be quite frank, with what it does and the little pin souvenir for when you unlock the entire going around the park trying to unlock it, it's a little bit steep for me. Personally, I'd be thinking more about the $24.99 price. So if I was at Disneyland and if I had the money, I probably would spend my $60 on something different. But that's because I'm not a pin person and I think I've got more plastic souvenirs than I actually really should.
Totally agree with you. Maybe, if that was our home park and we went there frequently, might be a fun thing to invest in. But if, like myself, I haven't been to Disneyland in 10 years. So if it's an infrequent trip for me, I don't know that I would go down that route.
I did see something that I thought was kind of fun. My love of the Magic Band is literally non-existent. However, the Magic Band Plus, if you scan at certain portals around the park, you get a nice little commemorative certificate. And I thought that was a nice touch.
Yeah. And that's, since I'm used to wearing a Magic Band, Magic Band Plus, that would fit easily into my day.
For me, I'm still not going to be tempted to buy a Magic Band Plus, even with the prospect of being able to use it on the Disney Cruise Line. I've got one piece of wearable tech. I don't want to wear two. So that sounded good. Lots of fun for people staying late to the park to see Paint the Night, which is my ultimate nighttime extravaganza. I love it. And I'm so glad to see that back in the parks. Both parks deserve to have a nighttime illuminated parade like this.
And I do think that new World of Color looks so beautiful. And plus, it's got the intro from the Muppets.
And what are they doing to the Muppets in Walt Disney World?
Shutting it down.
Yeah. Again, there's Wondrous Journeys, which I do believe I saw when it was on the other year. So that's cool. And I also saw the projection show on It's a Small World, which I thought was good as well.
Okay, yeah.
I have seen quite a lot of the other merchandise. The Mickey Mouse with closing, opening eyes and talking popcorn bucket.
Oh my gosh. This whole popcorn bucket thing.
It is going a little bit extreme. For me, the whole idea of Mickey Mouse talking to me and me shouting at him to get a response it's a no for me on that popcorn bucket, I'll be honest. But I have seen some really cool merchandising with the t-shirts. I love the blue and pink combination. Looks fantabulous. That people will be tempted to go and buy themselves a piece of memorabilia from Disney Store or from actually in the parks. It would be nice if we got the merch in the UK, but hey ho.
Well, you'll just have to ask your Disneyland friends to be on the lookout for you.
True. I will possibly do that. So, all's been happening at Disneyland this week. However, there's been a lot of things coming to Walt Disney World with lots of announcements. And the first one is Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. The dates and prices have been announced for this year.
Yes, grand tradition of starting in the heat of summer.
Yeah, August 15th is the first night at $149, and then the second night dips down to $119. They're obviously taking advantage of the knowledge that people want to be the first, so they're banging up the price for that. And pretty much through August, the price goes to $139 for the very last night in August. Pretty static through September until mid-September, going to $149, $159, and then creeping all the way up to top of the shop, $209 for Halloween itself.
It's always the most expensive night, but over $200, give me a break.
Well, I'm even sort of thinking about the price point for the August parties, because from experience I have done August Mickey's Not So Scary numerous times, and I think with the exception of one night, every night it rained because it's August.
Very true. You're definitely you're probably going to miss some entertainment. It's pretty much guaranteed.
Yeah, whether it's the Headless Horseman, whether it's the parade, whether it's the outdoor meet and greets that can't take place because of the weather, the fact that you are literally melting because it is August and it is so hot. I think for me, the price point has gone beyond what I would pay to go to this event. I feel for my $120, I would probably spend it on something else now, having seen all of the offerings. I think the big one for myself last year was being able to see the Godiva Dance, and that was amazing. And I know that they're bringing out a few slightly different things, like, for example, you've got the new modified Jack and Sally meet, where finally Jack Skellington is actually looking like Jack Skellington rather than some sort of alien-headed creature.
Precisely.
I'd just rather watch the parade from the comfort of my sofa, thank you, YouTube, and maybe go to Walmart and buy $40 of my favourite candies.
Exactly. I think as much as I love the Hocus Pocus stage show, it's time to do some updating with some of these entertainment things if you're going to get your returning guests to come back year over year.
Well, that's the point. A lot of us Brits do come over in the summer for us, which is sort of like any time around July 18th, running through all of August. That's our peak time to take our families with us over to the USA to enjoy the festival, and to have the same thing offered with only slight modifications for that price point, it's going to be a no. But what is going to be a big YES, food and wine. Now, this is quite interesting, Anthony, that when Flower and Garden finishes, there's quite a big gap all the way through the summer with no festival in Epcot, because food and wine doesn't start till the 28th of August and then it runs through the 22nd of November.
Yeah, it's going to be quite a while. I was doubtful that it would start at the beginning of July when I'm there, but just to see how late it is starting this year, we've gotten used to the trend of it almost getting earlier and earlier every year.
Maybe Disney is seeing the figures and thinking the crowds are going to be incredibly quite low through July and August. The cost of putting on food and wine isn't going to be financially viable until towards the end of August. You've also got to think, when you're buying these foods, these nice, beautifully crafted foods, and the minute you get away from the booth, they melt into mush because of the August heat. Maybe in September, they're thinking, well, more people are going to be coming, the weather's not as horrid. Yeah, let's just start at the end of August, and we'll just have to take it on the chin that this August is probably going to be a little bit quieter than past Augusts.
Although I wonder if they're somehow planning on drawing people over there to Epcot with an opening for Test Track within that window. That period in between the two festivals, just to try to drive some attendance. That is one thing I thought about.
Well, there are some other things happening. You're totally right. In the summer, you've got the Villain Show at Hollywood Studios. While you're at Studios, there's also the return of the slightly modified Little Mermaid stage show. Well, when I say stage show, it's not a spectacular like Beauty and the Beast, but it's still a rather cute little piece of air-conditioned show to go and watch.
Which is crucial for Hollywood Studios. Did you see the clips they've been releasing with some of the new animatronics and the new puppet of Max and some of the new bits?
It looks so exciting, doesn't it? It's nice to see it back up and running after a very long closure.
Yes, and that is going to be one of our priorities when we are there in July.
Fantastic. Also, we're going to be seeing that Muppets is going to be down, so Hollywood Studios is going to have this summer quite a lot of taps and path closures, basically, and that's never great for a theme park, is it?
Nope, it is not, particularly when there's a whole new one opening up just down the road.
Absolutely. We also have the exciting news that the Magic Kingdom is going to have a nighttime parade again. Hallelujah.
Definitely needs something entertainment-wise past 5 p.m. in that gap before the fireworks.
Yeah, and I've noticed that they've modified firework times, so it'll be really interesting to see what happens. And it's great for those of us that are going in the summer period that you can have a look and you can sort of think about your planning for your trips. So there are some things coming, and as you say, Test Track, I think it's not going to be, it's not like it's a new attraction. Yes, the indoor is going to be changed, but the outdoor element is going to be virtually the same fast car going around a fast track at a certain set speed. So we'll have to wait and see, but fingers crossed it does open up in time for your July trip.
Hopefully so, but that's all right. Just another reason to go back and use my annual pass.
Absolutely. So I suppose it's time for me to let the cat out of the bag about my fabulous summer ahead. And I am incredibly excited, Anthony. I am getting back on the ship that we both love.
The best, the fantasy.
We have been so excited about our trip. We had an amazing time that when we heard the Fantasy was going to be coming over to the UK this summer, I had to get a trip. So I spoke to my lovely friend Caroline Gray and said, come on, let's see if we can squeeze one in on the Disney Fantasy. And there were some very interesting itineraries, to be honest. There was 3 nights, 4 nights, there was some longer cruises, but the price points were quite high, to be quite frank, to be honest. When you compare something like going on a 4-night cruise on the Fantasy to actually the 13-night transatlantic that goes back in November, that is the same price of what I've ended up paying for the 4-night. It's a big jump.
Oh my goodness. Wow. 13 nights, that would be fantastic.
Oh,
Stupid school.
We could only dream about it, my lovely. But the Disney Fantasy to me is my home ship. I have sailed on her now. Oh my gosh. Is it twice or 3 times? I'm losing track. And the best bit for me is I love the animator's palette on board, Enchanted Garden, which is one of the most beautiful surroundings, and the Royal Court. The best bit is there's no stage show, dinner show like you've got on some of the other ships, because when we were on the Magic last time it came over to the UK, where we had to sort of enjoy the delightful food of Tangled, but the stage show was quite difficult to see unless you were in one of the prime spots. So for me, I prefer dinner to be dinner and shows to be shows. So we've got that. We are going on the sailing that goes to northern Spain. So, to be quite honest, I don't think either of us have at fussed about getting off the ship. So I think we're just going to wander around, stay on board, hopefully enjoy the nice weather, take advantage of the ship possibly being a little bit quieter with everybody else going ashore. And I'm just really excited. A nice little bit of a trip in the summer.
Now, has Caroline been on that ship before?
She's not been on the Fantasy before. She went on the Magic with me before, and you know, the level of persuasion that was needed was, hey hun, you fancy going on the Disney Fantasy? Yes.
Bags packed.
Something like that, absolutely. So it's very exciting. I've got to get my head around thinking about the logistics. Obviously, I've got to drive down to London, then we've got to pick up Caroline, and then I've got to drive down to Southampton. We're going to stay the night before, then we're going to park up at the port, go on board, enjoy the amazing, wonderful facilities on the Fantasy, and then do it all back in reverse and go home again. But I'm so blessed, I'm so lucky to be going with Caroline, getting a little taste of Disney this summer, which is always needed.
Definitely. You work so hard during the school year. You need your fun breaks.
Well, for me, it's the carrot and donkey. And I think for a lot of us Disney fans, we will say the same thing. If we don't have a trip booked, it's just not the same. You've got to have that little carrot for us to work towards and see that countdown getting smaller and smaller. And even as of recording with you today, Tuesday is our check-in day to get our port arrival time. So it's so super exciting.
Another little milestone, another little mini thing to get excited about.
Yeah, and then the countdown will slowly start creeping down, single digits, and then we'll be there. So have any of our listeners in the UK decided to take the plunge and go on the Disney Fantasy this year for the first time or for a revised trip? Please do let us know. We would love to help out if we can with any top tips. And if you've been on the Fantasy numerous times, what top tips would you share? So we managed to do Paulo when we were on board for the brunch. And we had the most amazing server. I don't know if you remember, because when it came to dessert, we were like, I'm not sure. And he just basically brought them all.
Oh, yes. Oh, Paulo. Well, hopefully you guys will be able to secure a reservation for that.
I'm not at this moment sure whether we are or not. We shall see what the availability is. The good thing is with Disney Cruise Line is you can book these things, and if you change your mind, you can release them so that other people get the opportunity to do them. So I think I'll have one in the bag just in case. I don't think I'm going to be booking any of the drinks packages, to be quite honest, because one, in the past, I've done them all. And two, Caroline's not really a drinker, so it's kind of a bit pointless booking a tequila tasting with people that don't really drink tequila.
Exactly.
The
Also, those were super fun.
Yes. The only other thing I would possibly consider was the desserts that we had, and I believe that was on Embarkation Day, or was it the Sea Day, where we went and tasted 5 different desserts with an alcohol pairing. Now that was amazing.
Oh, just the craftsmanship that went into some of those was fantastic.
Yeah, but unless they've changed them, there's no point repeating the same experience, is there?
There again, true. Like we were talking about with Mickey's Not So Scary, we need some innovation if we're going to repeat the experiences.
But one thing they need to make sure, so Disney Cruise Line, I hope you're listening, please make sure you've got abundant Mickey bars for this sailing, because Michelle was really disappointed on the Magic when there were no Mickey bars.
That's right. That's a crime.
Yeah, so fingers crossed. We shall see. Anyway, lovelies, just a bit of a short update from myself with the lovely Anthony Markham this week. We will be back to, hopefully, as normal audio quality with my fair beauty, the wonderful Jane Phipps, next week. But if you want to catch more of us, find us on Instagram at DisDreamGirls. You can also support the show financially, patreon.com/Disney Dream Girls. But until next week, it's a goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.